Today's talk is on the koshas, and the prana they call pancha kosha. Kosha means layers, or it's often described as 5 layers, a bit like the different layers of an onion. So 5 layers that relate to each other, that constitute the 5 layers of the human being. If you look at the one as a singlet or the t-shirt from the convention, you probably have noticed what was the quote that they use for the convention is, it is through your body, there on the board, it is through your body that you realize you are a spark of divinity. So we do Iyengar Yoga, which uses primarily the asana and pranayama as tools. And yet, those tools are for realizing that we are a spark of divinity. Like it's quite a stretch from doing a trikonasana. How does that make you realize that you're a spark of divinity? So it's a question that we all probably ask ourselves at some point in one way or another. So using the koshas to talk about that, I'm going to talk about the layers as such. Then I'm going to take one of the koshas, one of the layers, and I'm going to zoom it out into this little section here. And then the third section will be to try and see how Iyengar Yoga are using the tools to make us realize the soul. It's a very light topic or a very simple topic for the last talk. I know it's pretty substantial. I tried it. I'm going to go very fast. It's going to be like Koshas 101, very basic and so. Donc Patanjali acknowledged that we have 5 layers. The first one being Anamaya Kosha. Maya means fullness of it. So Ana, it's got 2 names. Anamaya Kosha. Ana means body, physical, the structure. And Maya means fullness of it. And kosha means layer. So they all finish by maya kosha. Something maya kosha, second. So anamaya kosha, which is the physical body, the structure of the body, the bones and muscles and joints and so on, skeleton. Then you have the little bit more inside, the pranamaya kosha. Prana, as you know, means life force. Very much in yoga, we talk of prana as the breath. Breath is a manifestation of this life force. So it's what brings life to the body. So the first layer is the physical thing, that if I was dead, my body would be on the ground, and you still see the body, but it will not be animated. So the prana is what animates the body with the life force. The blood that goes through your vein, your organic body, your breath. When the baby is born, first everybody holds their own breath in the room to wait for their first breath. And when they cry and breathe, that means it's working, it's alive. So that's the life force. The third layer is, this is the second layer, pranayama kosha. The third one is manomaya kosha. Manomaya kosha is the mental body. And obviously it's the ones that think and that makes us operate in the world. This is the one I'm going to zoom right out to here. So more on this later. By the way, so far, the physical body relates to stability. Its quality is stability. The second one, the prana, the life force, is vitality. The third one, mind, is clarity. The fourth one is Vijnanamaya kosha. Vijnanamaya kosha is a more subtle area of the mind, of the human body. Okay, so this is what I will talk a bit more about as well when we get there. But just suffice to say now that it's not the one that, the part of the mind that thinks things through and analyze and so on. It's the one that actually when we stop, you know when say you're in a discussion and perhaps a work discussion where you're trying to make decisions and so you're talking da-da-da-da-da and then you go, wait a minute, it's let me think. But actually what we're doing is, wait a minute, let's stop. thinking for a minute. And then it's like the intuition, the insights that arise that without going through the rational mind. Intuition, insights, wisdom. This one relates to wisdom. This one, the little one, is Anandamaya Kosha. Anandamaya Kosha is the self or the soul or that inner essence that is all in all of us. So that's the 5-1. And they all relate to each other. And I'm not going to say too much with this one, the physical body, but a very a way that Mr. Iyengar makes us realize how this whole phenomenon that we evolve, we live in the physical body, we have all these other layers. The physical body is on this earth, there's a manifested world around us, and we exist in the world. But actually, this world, the realm of this world is dualistic. So it exists because there's cold and there's hot and there's night and there's day, and everything is there's things we like, things we don't like. It's the realm of duality. So when we do this, one of the symbols of this is bringing the non-dualities. That's what we try to do when we do yoga, is try to get away from this sense of separation and dichotomy and to a feeling of oneness. It epitomizes the earth quality, solidity and groundedness. But we also ascend the spine and the top of the head towards the ceiling. So there's 2 poles that we're working with. And because we're so keen on yoga, we like it, part of it, because we are on a path where we aspire to something more refined, something that takes us away from our primal, basic, daily, ground, mundane part of life. So we are anchored, but we are anchored on the earth. And we know that it's problematic if somebody just reach for the transcendental without not being on the earth. It's quite problematic. So Tadasana, so that's a very simple way in which Iyengar Yoga is so physical, and it anchors us so much on the earth. And yet there's constant that ascension upward in so many poses, going down. We know that we're always being taught that we need to anchor ourselves down into whatever is on the ground. The base has to be grounded into the earth. But then we also aspire to something more subtle quality of life. So that's kind of in a nutshell. So if I take the Manomaya Kosha, it's got 3 strands. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 aspects of the mind. What is a little bit difficult when we read about the yoga philosophy is that often the terms that they use have a different meaning in this yoga Eastern paradigm than it has in the Western paradigm. So for example, the mind. And Patanjali identified 3 aspects. The manas, manas, the ahamkara, 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 and the buddhi. Okay, so then we're going to zoom out here. So what's happening? This is the manas. This is the 3 aspects of the mind. This is the manas. This is the ahamkara, and this is the buddhi. This is our eyes. The part of the mind that is called manas, the one that analyzes and that gathers a lot of information, like everything that encompasses all of your individual is chock-a-block, like it's quite extraordinary. The amount of information we can gather. Data, it's like a hard drive, chock-a-block packed with data. So that's this one here. We relate with the world through our senses. Mainly the eyes a lot. We capture a lot through our eyes. So eyes, ears, scent, smell, taste, touch. So that's how we relate to the world. The world is here. This is a cup. And then the eyes see the cup. The manas goes, okay, it's got It's an orange color. It says Adelaide Convention Center, but it's nothing to do with actually it's a vessel. I can drink a tea out of this. So this one knows what that is. And this one is very linked to the senses. So the senses see something, and this one has got all the data. It's got a magnificent state-of-the-art filing system. So it's all filed. So it can see, and it goes cup. And then this one, the ahamkara, they also call it the I shape. I shape. This is me. This is I. My name is Carole. I was born in Canada. I'm a yoga teacher. I've got so many siblings, etc., etc. This one is me. This is me. This is who I am in the world. So this one sees the cup. This one says, okay, it's a cup. This one goes, I love hot drinks. So for me, I've got a good relationship with that cup. Actually, not yes and no, because it doesn't keep very warm. So already, this one colors my experience and say, see, I live in Dublin, not for nothing. So I'm always there, never out of my sight. I've got a thermal cup, and that's where I drink even at home, it's always the sound, because I love hot, warm drinks, yeah? So for me, this has got, part of the connotation is in relationship to that. Some of you may be crazy about the orange color, and you go, it's a nice cup. And then some of you might think, oh gee, I'm thirsty now, I wish I could take this cup and drink something else. So this one makes up the world according to you and your sense of who you are. This is the ego. The ego is a very bad press. Ego, very bad press. Oh, it's got a big ego, it's got a big ego. But it's an absolutely necessary aspect of us. I mean, it's not a bad thing that I remember that I'm a yoga teacher and where I live and so on and so forth. And somebody who has a very, very small ego, that it's not me, underconfident, is also not a healthy ego. Ego is very necessary and healthy. A healthy one is good. Okay, so, but that's the ego part. But then the problem is that then I get to say, okay, we're going to get to this in a minute. So that's the ego. Then these ones, the manas and the ahamkara, are linked to the senses, and they turn towards the outside world. A little bit deeper. Are you keeping the time?
I am.
So then the next one is further away, and it's a little bit further behind and further inside. And it's not so much linked to this out and to me, what it is that I want. This one is the one that is called the buddhi, and it's related to more. See, those two, this is the manas and the ahamkara. It's related to this part, to the energy and the physical body that's got eyes, that is out in the world. This one is more turned towards the next one, the Vijnana Maya Kosha, the realm of wisdom, discrimination. So this one, this is thinking, working things out. This one is more insights. It's like, who said that? Eureka. Is it Einstein? No, one of those. Eureka! I got it! This man has been doing this science for decades, and then he has a bath and he gets the answer. So that sort of thing. And this one, these two parts of the mind are related to what I want and the way I see the world. This one is more wise, so it's more about not just what I want, but more what I need and what everybody else around me needs. So making decisions more according to the knowledge that we are way more this than this. Therefore, if we take decisions knowing that what we are, this is the way I'm standing here looking, it's not really who I am. It's not who I am. It's not what you look is not who you are. It's something way more refined. And what you are is this energy that animates your body, the prana, is the same energy that animates the whole universe. So what it is that makes the bricks and the trees and the things and thoughts, everything in the universe. Thank you. Everything in the universe is made out of, what is this that makes this alive? It's an energy, it's consciousness. This is a word we use, consciousness. So there's the whole universe is driven, made, born out of, and sustained by consciousness. And we, as people, we live through and be sustained by and kept alive by consciousness. This is the same thing. This is called universal consciousness, and here is called individual consciousness. Universal consciousness, individual consciousness. And this is what we try to tap into, because if we tap into this, we're way less worried and afraid, because it's just, this is coming through us. We don't need to generate everything that we're generating in our lives. It's happening. In the morning, we're going to get up, we're going to feed ourselves, we're going to go. Yes, so there's a lot of layers that we put on top of that. So that's that. So that's oh yeah, just talked about it now a bit. Right. Like the vinaya, it's the intuitive, the inside.
Right, inner consciousness.
Yeah.
Individual consciousness.
Well, individual consciousness is this one. This one, so part of it is the buddhi. The buddhi relates to this wisdom and the insights. It's more turned to this one. This realm is the realm of the wisdom and insights. And this one, see if this one is turned, two of them are turned this way, and a third is turned this way. This one is turned this way. This one faces the soul or the self. So sometimes, this is the smallest, there's all this terminology that as yoga teachers you have to get yourself familiar with. We're not born with these words. Like Mr. Iyengar, he's teaching and throwing those things around, self and consciousness, and we're like, wow. Intelligence, put your intelligence there. I'm right. This is not the same thing he's talking about. This is the self with the small s. This is the self with the big S. This is, okay, so that's that. So we end from the same thing. And yoga is trying to get us to realize this. When we realize that this is who we are, and it's not like one day, it happens like that sometimes. Enlightenment, this is what enlightenment is. You realize, wow, not just in your head, but this inner knowing that that's what you are. And then what you see from there is that you see that it's all the same. And you see that everybody is that. And it's like, wow. It's like all of a sudden there's no separation. So when you listen to somebody, you're really there with them. It makes you connect. There's a poet called T.S. Eliot who said, there's this quote, I say this very often, hell is where nothing connects. This is hell. And this makes us feel connected, our bodies, with ourselves. We're more at peace with ourselves. And it makes us connected with everybody. Because with the same thing, that recognition of the same. And then the world. It's a difficult world, it's a very challenging world outside. It's full of pain and suffering and a lot of trauma out there. But there's a place that this is a realm of duality. This is just, to a certain extent, how it is. Sure, you can try to change it, and some people are active doing that, but you see that this is how this thing works. So that's that. Now, how does Iyengar Yoga makes us realize this more? So I just thought I'd pull out a few examples of that you all know about, but just to make them more relevant. So just by the way, just something I forgot to mention is that, well, I kind of said it, but more clearly, this one, the ego that gives us so much trouble. Actually, I tell you the quote because it's really funny. they say this, the ego. I can't find it now, but it's something like this is a paranoid, schizophrenic tyrant. You know, this is I want this. No, I don't want this. Oh, this one said this about me. Oh, this one. It's like it's completely. And then the other sentence is, and this, you see, you laugh because we identify with it. But this, they say, is a lot easier to see in everyone else. So it's quite funny, this philosophy. So how does that work? I'm just gonna go through it with Iyengar Yoga. So first of all, so then basically, it says yoga is the cessation of the fluctuation of this consciousness. I want this, I don't want that, the judgment about ourselves, about everything else. So that the self, the soul, the seer, can rest in its own splendor. So how does the Iyengar Yoga does that? So basically, in one sentence, it's trying to get away from this part of the mind to go more into this part. And then we're on our way, we're there. So all these tools that the Iyengars use is to take us away from there into this direction. So for example, so if I say to you, take your arms in Tadasana, do you want to do that now? You've done enough of that. So if I say bring your elbows in and extend your arms up towards the ceiling. If I say bring your elbows in, extend your arms up towards the ceiling, up towards the ceiling. See the difference? So here you kind of, but then if I charge, thank you, if I charge the voice and very clear and very direct, it kind of talks to this other part. Like you can't, doesn't give you a time for the mind to work this out. There's a two concept of it's called Prana and Prana. So when it's energy and it's energy and awareness. With the Iyengar method, we never just, it's not about stretching. In fact, in the 90s, the word stretch was banned. We were not allowed to use the word stretch in class. Do you remember that? Because I'm stretching. I'm stretching. It's kind of, it's empty of consciousness and awareness and intelligence. Now here comes the intelligence. This part, the Vijnana Maya Kosha, we call it intelligence. We call it, this one is it's here. It's intelligence. This quality is intelligence. So when we say bring your intelligence there, it doesn't mean the one that is clever. It means this one that is more rarefied, that is the subtle awareness. Discrimination. It's also called discrimination. So you are able to go like this. So you do dog pose and you go, is this part on the floor or not? Is it on the floor or not? He would hold us in Tadasana, any pose, for 20 minutes. Is your knee open? Yes, is your knee open? Is your knee open? And sometimes after 50, you go, oh, okay, now it's, yeah. So he's asking us to go and bring this part, the discriminative part of the mind, which is this one, into life. So what that does, it brings more alignment, it brings more prana, more energy, and it brings more a sense of connectivity. But what it does, I think this is all my interpretation of it all. What it does is see there's a stone and then you polish it. What we do when we do that, we polish this one. The power of discrimination. So like they have, and to bypass the mind, this part of the mind, it has to be so strong. Otherwise, we're going to try to make out something with our own little brain. But he's saying, bring this here. Don't you feel? Don't you see this? Come on, be here. Not with the thinking mind. And that's something when you teach, you see that. You explain something. And then the student might say, let's work it out. She's saying shoulder blade here, shoulder blade into the spine. Wrong path. We're using this one. This is not going to work. I want to work it out. No, you don't work it out there. You just bring yourself in the body. This bypasses this one. This bypasses this one. So that's why we do it. Be discriminate. Feel where you are. Bring the intelligence. So that's another example. The eyes are very, very important. There's a few examples, I'm sure people who've been there and had the amazing opportunity to study with him, or even, your mom teachers is like, there's some moments of his teaching that is very, embedded in my mind. For example, he was teaching Tadasana over a chair, and then we're all watching the head on this side, and he goes over this side, and he presses the shin bones down. And then we were watching, what's going to happen, and he goes, look at the eyes. You look at these eyes, bang, boom, the eyes go right in. So that involution process to go in. So even moving the shin bones down in a certain way, at a certain time, in a certain manner, is to do this, to bring us more from the outside to the inside. There was one of those intensive, Australian intensive, where, if you remember, there was a chap from New Zealand who was doing Shishasana, and he had a bit of a vata quality, a bit like a bit kind of like this nerdy type a bit. And so we looked at his Shishasana, it was all over the place. And then Mr. Iyengar looked and he goes, move your left eye to the center and the whole thing. Just bring your eyes, just calm your eyes, bring them in the middle. So he's using the body to make us go closer to there. There's a funny story with Gita. I mean, it's not really funny. It's part of it is not funny, but you understand the humor of it. So we're doing pranayama, and so like this, 80 people in the room. Some of you might have been there that time, but so we're doing pranayama sitting. Close your eyes. Sitting still. Then we hear, close your eyes! The first thing you want to do is open your eyes. And then we try, then the next thing, you green t-shirt! Close your eyes! We're dying to know who it is. The next thing.
Kicking out your own t-shirt.
What did I wear this morning? The next thing, now she's crying. I mean, it's not funny for this person was, it's not funny because it hurt her. She was upset and all that. But the funny thing of it is that, and then she said, see, this is the fire they use. This method is absolute fire. And another image that they talk in terms of spiritual development is you have to put your head in the lion's mouth. You put your head in the lion's mouth, and that's what this Iyengar method is. So then she was telling us, like, you people, how can you ever go there if you can't even close your eyes? I mean, like the eyes are out here, and we're trying to get there, and we're just trying to say, okay, try to shut this out to see what's happening there, and we can't even do that. And because there's fear. If I don't see the world around me, we underestimate. If we've done for a while for new students to do this, even to just go inside. So that's one of the story. The other method they use is like the surrender. See, they ask us a lot to surrender. They ask us to really listen. To not, if they didn't say to put a little tool there, to not put it there. to if they come to you to adjust, you have to surrender yourself to it. This part of the mind is what we are using in this tool. We are controlling ourselves with this, our life with this. And if we get too tired about this, it prevents us from turning this way. So, I just lost my train of thought. That's right. So, for example, I have another story. I was teaching just a few weeks ago, and Shishasana in an advanced class. And this student has got a scoliosis, so their head is often, like that. So, as a rule in Shishasana, you would not go and adjust somebody's head when they're upside down. Yeah, you ask them to come down. However, I knew her. She's a long-term student. She's very strong, very solid in her alignment otherwise. And I thought, I wanted to show the students how you just ask her to move her ear down. And I knew she could do. So I come like this to her. This is her head. And I come like this, my hands. And then she's like, oh, is it like this? Yeah. So then I said, oh, sorry. Okay. I was actually just about to show you. So then I can try again. Oh, it isn't like this. Third time. I'm going, don't do anything. I'm just going to indicate you with my touch, light touch. I said, okay, let's move on. Let's move on to something else. And they don't have the time. See, Guruji was here. If you're not there, do you want to know or you don't want to know? Do we want to learn or we don't? If you do, you have to say, okay, touch me, move me, do whatever. When we're in trusted hands. So that surrender. So then that explain again a bit. Otherwise on the surface you get just they talk, they this is that. But that's where they want to take us, and we resist, and we go, no, we see the world like this, we want people like that. So that's another example. Am I going? The perfectionism is another big one. So then people say, have you noticed that some people... Okay, good. Have you noticed that some people, in my generation, because of my age and the number of years I've done it, I've seen a lot of yoga people, yoga teachers, and even some Iyengar were Iyengar now, they're not Iyengar. Or even forget the fact that they might have been Iyengar. Any teacher, sometimes they define themselves in opposition to Iyengar. Oh no, I teach no. I don't teach perfection. Oh, no, I'm not about about the perfect pose. And they throw those things at you as if this is what we're trying to do. They have a misconception around what it is. So the perfection thing is that sure we're trying to perfect the pose. We do. We say, if you connect here and then here, then you will have better energy in your lungs, etc. So we do. But we are not trying to have the perfect pose. The perfect pose does not exist. It's always in motion. It's Mr. Iyengar, you look at life on yoga sometimes and you go, oh yes, in headstand is like he's close to and perfect in a lot of poses. But do you understand? It's not that we're trying to do the perfect pose. What we are trying to do, we are trying to perfect. We are moving towards more perfection and more excellence. But we don't want, I want to have the perfect pose, the perfect Trikonasana. This is, it's in the realm of the fantasy. Which body do you have, which knee, what are you working with, etc. So it's like, it's a process. It's a process of perfecting. Using the body, using the asana, to perfect what? To develop what? To polish what? This one. Which is turned towards this one. That's what I think. Look, I'm telling you, this has been my thinking. I've done some yoga study in the philosophy and history of yoga a bit, so I learned the terminology. But this is, look, it's such an amazing, deep subject, and perhaps some of this doesn't make too much sense, so I haven't got the truth on this. This is just my reflection over the years. But we are trying to develop the intelligence that is turned towards the inner. And that's why we're trying to work with perfecting the poles. But it's dangerous to get stuck in trying to get the best, the perfect poles. Perfection is not of this world. This is not, the physical body is not a perfect tool. How could we have a perfect pose? So that's more or less what I wanted to say. Is there, I want to tell one last story actually. But if you have any questions, you can fire them out.
I think it's you put it very well. And it's very complex that using the visual aspect of it and getting to the point of what practices we can do about. It isn't about whether you're an advanced student or in the general classes. It's about your experience of getting to underlying kosha and whether the class took you to that point. So I think you've done a very good job of explaining it. Very good.
Can I tell you my last story? It's a personal story, okay? So, but it's very dear to my heart. You will understand why. And so what it is this, is that once we've gone there, you've heard this probably before, it's a process of involution, so we go from out to in, but then once you've encountered this one, which we all have in certain ways, in certain degrees, then what happens is then we live in the world with this knowledge. Not the knowledge, with this intelligence. With the intelligence of the heart. With the intelligence of knowing who we are. So then, when we are in the world, in this manner, all you see is the body, you see the body and the mind of somebody. When you are here, your actions come from inside. Your thoughts, the way. Again, it's not like, oh yes, one day I will be such a good person, I will always live for my higher self. No. But a little bit more. So here's my story. So I come to Australia in 1990 and had done yoga. When I heard Alan's talk yesterday, he was saying, you know, how for me it was like that as well. When you dive into it to the extent I have, this has been very much the center of my life. People who know me know this for a long time. It's because I tell you, the world did not make any sense at all. It's out of a need, out of a need of you have to make some sense of what's going on here. So anyway, I started yoga, and within, weeks or months, I wanted to go to the source of it all. I said, I need to go, and this is starting to make sense. So I decided to leave from Montreal and go to India. And I was with my partner at the time, and we had a project I was writing, and it was photographing in Southeast Asia. Because I could have gone anywhere from there, I could have gone to Europe, but I thought, no, I go to there because on the way I'm going to go to Australia. Australia is there, and Australia is not far from India. So then I can do some classes there. There must be some yoga classes there. It's scary, it's scary going to Pune. And I thought, better sharpen up before I get there. So, Google was not 20 years ago, I don't know, that's 27 years ago. Google was not there, so I was hoping, was praying. And we get to, because in Montreal, where I'm from, there was only one Iyengar school. It was really tiny, and the teacher was not very nice. She was not turned towards she was trying to control, because this methodology it can lead to too much control as well. Some people have gone that tangent a bit. Anyway, she was one of them. So, and then I just thought, and then I left. I did a degree and university degree, and I thought, I don't want to pursue this. What am I going to do? And then when I found yoga, I thought I just want to do yoga and teach yoga. That's what I want to do, and somewhere where it's warm. So then on my way to India, I stopped in Australia. There were 7 Iyengar schools in Sydney. 7. I could not believe my life. I'm in the health food shop and it's board. There's notice board. This one, this one, this one. I mean, this is mega hit. So I was very excited. And then on the plane coming, I didn't have much money. I thought, and my digestion's always been quite temperamental, to say the least. So I needed to eat well. And I was vegetarian at the time, and to work in a restaurant, I thought I can eat well there. Vegetarian restaurant, I have to pay for my food. So this is I put in my head. So I get to Sydney, fair enough, I find a place. But I was very good at English at school, because as a French speaking in Montreal, you learn English as a second. It's very French. I mean, university, everything was French. So I get to Australia, I couldn't understand a word. And I got this job in this restaurant, so here I am. So this is the street, and it's a takeaway place. It's a restaurant takeaways with a big window, and I'm in the kitchen with 3 or 4 other people, and I'm completely out of my depth. They said, put it there, and I had lied a little bit. I didn't have as much experience as I said I had. So people are starting to pile. This whole energy is starting to be quite stressed and negative. Like people were waiting and they were starting to line up outside, and this whole thing is not going to kitchen. There's this person in the middle of it who doesn't know what she's doing, and da 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 da. So then people were like, no. You know, that kind of, and then when they came to ask for the food, they was like, yeah, it's taking so much time today, and da-da-da. And there was a woman in the middle of the crowd. She's standing like that. And she had her arms like this. She's just waiting. And as the scene evolved, she's like that. And then she sees what's going on. She doesn't think, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I want my food, and now this is me, and da 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 da. She's going, what is going on here? Clarity of perception. She in this realm here. And she's like this. Not a word is said, but every time I would turn around and see the crowd, I would see her and start to focus on her. Then she realizes I'm the missing link. And she's looking at me and she's like this. And she's just this smile, she knows what's going on, and she's like, poor thing. Full of compassion, and I'm zoning on her, and I'm like, I've got an ally here. So that was that. You know, somebody like that. She saw the clarity of the situation. She did not go just after her need, but trying to understand. She sees what's understand. She sees what's not working. And she has compassion. And she understands. At that moment, she puts herself in my shoes. And she goes, wow, this poor girl, she's really struggling. Yeah? But you know what? Hopefully I'm not going to cry. But the next day, so I looked at the board, and I looked at all the yoga schools, and I started to go everywhere. And one of them was offering teacher training. Wow, what a good timing. So I was supposed to be in Sydney for 2 months, but that was in 4 months. 4 months teacher training every morning. And I thought, well, maybe I can do that. Wow, because, you know, in those days there was not all these requirements for, and I just couldn't believe it. Anyway, I thought I better check with this person. So I rang the school and I said, look, I haven't done that much, you know, and is that going to be okay? He said, okay, well, let's come and have a meeting tomorrow. So I go, that was in Haymarket, Sydney Yoga Center. So I walk in and guess who that was? Guess who? She's that woman. She's the... and it seems... And I thought, wow, I found a good place to... tell, rarely, but to an audience like this, you can really understand why. So shall we do a chant to conclude? So I was in the advanced class this morning, and Pixie was doing this chant, so I thought maybe some of you know it, the Guru Brahma.
Yes.
So I've got the words, if some of you want, Bernie can tell you. So what that says is that, so once we go in and find this one,